Hey guys, welcome to this shortwave radio channel. And one of the things I want to talk about, I'm getting a lot of comments and over time, and I've got quite a few comments this week of people purchasing the Sangean ats-909 X X2, and it's got to come back on it a little bit because there's a lot of complaints, and one of the first complaints is why the hell do engineers and designers create radios that don't necessarily perform the way we want it or have features that are kind of useless, like the automatic bandwidth switch, things like that, or weird ideas like you have AM bandwidths, but you don't have bandwidths for a single sideband. I don't get it. It's things that, especially when you listen a lot and you know about radio, you're like, who the hell? What was that decision? And you know what? It comes all to the point of one thing. You got to understand that it's not because you know how to design a radio like this that you know what it's all about. And I think that's the problem is the people that design need to also have someone that really knows what it's all about. And that would probably bring one of the perfect designs for radio. Like, just take the Ethon satellite HD Elite that pretty much failed because it's just so so bad compared to the price that it's sold for performance. If in there you would have had somebody knowledgeable about a radio, how it should work, how it should perform, knows what to look for. It's expensive as a radio, but it could have been worth its price in a way if it will be well designed, which it was definitely not. And it's definitely people that don't know what's all about, and that a little bit of noise goes a long way, and there's the testing phase. How can you have a radio that the first firmware version had the HD lock or freeze the radio without what you didn't test it or long enough to really see that it works? There are things like that you wonder. It's where's the quality control and where's the knowledgeable people? We're in a world that's very different. Back in the 70s or 80s when radios were designed, there's a good chance that somebody somewhere in the company where these were designed, there was somebody knowledgeable enough to say, well, it should implement this, we should have that, and we should have this bandwidth, and this is what made the difference between a lot of good radios and poor performers back in the day. Today, it's maybe the same in a way, but I think for the most part, we've lost the experts in the field that know how these need to perform. So we come out with radios. Sangean is a well-known brand. It's a trusted brand for the most part. But a lot of people are unhappy with their 909s. I've learned to live with the flaws of the 909. Am I unhappy with it? Actually, not really. I like the 909. It's very sexy. It's one of the most beautiful. Regarding the looks, the design of it, that is a beautiful radio. But it lacks in so many things that could have been there. And I think the number one complaint still is low audio on SSB. Yeah, when signals are not very strong, there is low audio in single sideband, absolutely, and they're all plagued like that. There's no, some have sent it in to fix it, or no, there's no fix. It's the way it is, and there is no fix for that. But you can cope with that, and I think the biggest problem is people listen or try to listen to single sideband signals on the telescopic. But once you put an external antenna on it, actually the volume of the single sideband signals increases because the signals are stronger. And I think this is definitely something to think about. If you find that the volume's too low on SSB, put a wire, clip a wire on the antenna, or use the external antenna jack. overall, they're okay. But yeah, it's because the problem with the Sangeans like this is that they are expensive compared to the other portables. That there's a lot of portables at one third of this price that do all of it better, and that's where I think a lot of people are find it sad. And it's part of, once again, designs, people not knowing. I still am wondering who. Somebody thought about it. Hey, how about a variable bandwidth depending on the signal strength? The idea might have been interesting at the start, but but when the signals fade in and out, the bandwidth, the change in bandwidth just makes everything bad. It's a feature you turn off and you keep off. As simple as that. And the deafness and the telescopic, I think this they've never really fixed. It is part of why SSB might sound a little weak is that on telescopic, the telescopic doesn't perform that well. And so you get low signal strengths for single sideband signals. You also, in return, have low audio in single sideband. But if I use this with an external antenna, I'm happy. I put this on the MLA30. Works great. The AGC, the automatic gain control setting for single sideband, is actually well thought out. Not too much punch through. This is one of the things I probably hate about the Texan. The Texan receivers punch through a lot. There's kind of no slope. So it could be tiresome sometimes for a long period. Not, when signals are strong. Because when the signals are weak, it doesn't show. A Texan receiver on a weak single sideband signal performs okay. But once the signals are very strong, the punch through at every word and every time the transmission starts and stops, definitely on the Texan, it makes it for less of an interesting listening. But still, they're well designed. I always say it'd be cool if we could take what's good in every radio and then put that and make a amazing radio with it. What's good on this radio? Take it, put it in a Texan, remove the bad parts, and it's the same is true. It's like take what's good in a Texan, put it in here, and mix all of that together, and you get a great receiver. But it's part of the game. That's why I review them. That's why I talk about them a lot. I will. Some people are frustrated with this. I understand. When I got the original, which is I got it as the Radio Shack DX398. One of the first things I noticed was, it's not as sensitive as I think when I got it. I had the Grande Yardboy 400, and I immediately noticed that it was not as good in performance. Yet, it was easier, and the way that it was designed made it more fun to tune around. And it's a beautiful big display and beautiful radio. And I learned to use it, and I always use most of the time an external antenna. So mixed with that, the plague of a little deafness with telescopic is not much of a problem. But it all depends. What's the use you want to do on a radio? If that's your main portable radio and you will always use it on telescopic, I can get why some are, a little frustrated on it. It's all depends on how you use it, what do you expect, and of course, what do you expect for the price you pay? That's a big thing. We expect, some people are, there's a couple of people that, sometimes will comment and say, well, I've got an R9012 or I've got a Radiwar R108, and they're going to say, this, that, and I don't hear this, and I only hear that, and I can't even get that. And I'm like, okay, first of all, hang on. If you paid $30 or $40 for a radio, there's not a lot of complaint you can give on it because you bought a radio that's inexpensive. It's missing features. and it might not have all of the stuff that you need. You got to know what you buy. And there are more expensive radios, and more expensive, I don't mean that much more expensive, that are better from the start. It's all a question of what you want and what you expect for the price you pay and how much you want to pay. In each price category, there is one little gem that you can buy that, it's a great radio. And that's why I review them here. That's why I regularly make radios of what are the best radios right now. I made a little series at the time of December 2023. And it's a question of just choosing the right one and the good one for the price you want to pay. And we got to understand that today's Sangeans and today's Grundig, Ethon, and whatever, it's not what it was in the past. So we got to think about it. And there's also all sorts of weird and unique new choices today, including little portable SDRs and so on. So, it all depends what you want and what you're looking for. If you enjoy my videos, please subscribe. Hope you enjoy the videos, guys.